It's time to get up close and personal with the sample prototype Nike Waffle that was buried in Bill Bowerman's backyard. Bill Bowerman was the co-founder of Nike, the legendary track coach at the University of Oregon, and the inventor of the Waffle sole, which was Nike's first innovation. He invented the Waffle sole at home with his wife's waffle iron. And this is a handmade shoe and the earliest example of a Nike Waffle that you'll ever see. In a lot of ways, every single pair of Nikes can trace its roots back to this shoe. Let's check it out. We got to turn it over and check out the outsole. So you can see the rubber pattern on this shoe is very irregular, unlike what Nike Waffles looked like that came out of the factories. You can also tell that the shoe is handmade because the rubber on the shoe doesn't exactly fit the midsole. Here's what I mean. Check out the rubber outsole, and you can see right over here this cork-like material that's sticking out. The outsole doesn't even fit onto the midsole, and you can especially see that at the back of the shoe. Check out right here. It's actually almost a half an inch off. I can't even believe that Bill Bowerman, with his own hands, was creating these waffle soles and gluing them onto the midsoles to create shoes, and this is one of them. The only writing on this shoe at all is the number 13 right here, representing the size. There are no tags. It doesn't say Nike anywhere on the shoe. It doesn't say made in the USA or made in Japan. If it said anything at all, it would say made in Bill Bowerman's house. So let's have a look at the upper. Wow. Check out this fat belly swoosh. Of course, I could put shoe trees into this shoe and stretch it out and get it back to its normal shape, but I think there's something beautiful and something magical about the way the shoe was buried and uncovered. And I love that it's covered in real dirt from Bowerman's house. Let's have a look up here at the front of the shoe. You can see that it's sort of beat up. It's got dirt on there. It's almost a rusty color. Again, we can kind of spread it out and see what happens there. Check that out. Move my hand out of the way. So we could put shoe trees in here and straighten it out, but again, I think it's just beautiful the way it is. Let's have a look over here at this wonderful angle. I think when the shoe sits on its own, it looks best just like this. The swoosh is so big and bold and pronounced. I just love it. Let's open it up. I'll try to put my hand in here and we'll see what happens. It's amazing. Actually, the shoe held up in incredible shape, and it's quite strong, especially for its age. The first Nike Waffles came out in 1972, and they were given out in Eugene at the Olympic trials. They were called moon shoes because the pattern that they imprinted on the ground was like that of the astronauts that had just walked on the moon a few years earlier. But it wasn't until 1973 that Nike actually started making waffle shoes and selling them to the public. And those were the Oregon Waffles. This, though, is a moon shoe. Now, I want to break out a retro pair of moon shoes so that we can compare them. And you can see that the stitching has the same general pattern on the retro as on the original. So let me open this up, and you can see, especially right up there at the toe, that stitching pattern right there, it matches up to a T on the retro. Now, of course, the waffle pattern on the bottom of the retro is going to be very different, very uniform, especially compared to the original right there. Check that out. And you'll also see that there's another big similarity at the back of the shoes, and that's going to be this tab right here, which is much larger than the little tab right here. I don't want to pull this out because I'm afraid that it'll mess the shoe up, but you can see that that tab matches that tab. There is a difference between the retro and the original, and that's going to be this pattern that goes around the heel. That doesn't exist on the original over there. And then also on the side, there's another little mesh pattern going on right there that we don't have on the original. But really, those are just aesthetics. And you can imagine that when Bill was tinkering in his house and created this shoe, he wasn't really that concerned about putting a little extra piece of mesh here or mesh back here. He was just kind of testing out the waffle as an innovation and seeing if he could create them and if they would grip the ground better. So let's move the retro out of the way and get back into here. I know you want to see the inside. So that's what it looks like in there. No writing at all. Covered in dirt. I wonder if this shoe was actually ever even used. I don't think it is. So in a lot of ways, it's dead stock. Not only because it was buried, but also because it doesn't appear to have ever been used or ran in. You can see that the insole is sort of a dirt color. I don't know if that originally was white, but, you know, after 40 plus years buried in the backyard, this is what we've got. And I think it's just beautiful as it is. No writing on the tongue, you know, it doesn't say Nike at all. It's funny because a lot of the OG collectors flip out if it doesn't have a little R, as though, you know, Nike was a registered trademark. But this doesn't even say Nike. So this is really like the true OG shoe. I absolutely love it. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and I will treasure this for as long as I live.